Yeah, my name's Nicole Heales and I work for myself and my business is called Nicole Heales Financial.
Fantastic. Where are you based, Nicole?
In Melbourne.
Okay, and how long have you had your own business?
Coming on to about 8 years now.
Okay, very good.
Yep.
Good. And what were you doing before that?
Well, I got in the industry about 13 years ago, so I worked with a couple of people. Before that, I was a trademark attorney. I worked at Freehills and Cause. I think they've all changed their names a million times, but top tier law firms. Before that, I was a public service in Canberra, so this is my third career.
It's your third iteration, really, isn't it?
Yeah, it's my morph.
Well, let's have a talk about what it was that motivated you
Yes.
from moving from the legal profession effectively into the advice profession.
Yes.
What was it? What happened?
Well, I turned 35 and I needed to find an advisor, and I couldn't find an advisor that spoke to me in a language that I could understand. So I just said, oh, well, I'm going to teach myself. And I went through the process of learning and studying myself, and then became an advisor. And now I focus on helping women with their advice. So it's a bit of a turnaround.
Okay, so that's the focus for you today, is helping other women with
just basically advice. Being there so that they can have a normal conversation and it's not too dry and it's a little bit more lighthearted and more conversational, and make people feel comfortable. And women do feel comfortable talking to women about advice because it's such a personal thing. I mean, it's like, I think it's like health. I go to a woman doctor. I would rather see a woman, I have a woman helping me with my accounting, and that's really where I'm at.
All right then, so let's come back to that.
Yep.
But before we do, let's go back. What was your first occupation? Did you say it was the public service?
Public service.
Okay, what were you doing there?
I actually was working for the Patents and Trademarks Office. So I started as the photocopy girl and worked my way all the way up to policy. I was there for 10 years, and as soon as I got my long service leave, 10 years, I was out.
Congratulations. Did you
Thank
go into the public service from school?
Yes, I'm from Canberra originally, so that's kind of what happens. Yeah.
Okay, so how long have you lived in Melbourne?
Probably, I think it's about 30 years now. It's my home.
Very good. Yeah. Sounds great. But you grew up in Canberra?
Yeah, grew up in Canberra.
What school did you go to?
I went to Western Creek High and Stirling College.
Okay, and was that a good education for you?
Yeah, it was good. It was public schooling and it was great. My dad was my roll call teacher for a few years in high school, which was a bit, Yeah.
Okay, so you're one of those fortunate or unfortunate students that had a parent as a teacher at the school that you went to.
Who used to mark my name off every day at school.
Well, at least they knew you weren't playing hooky then.
Yeah, that's right. No chance there.
Okay, so were you always a good girl at school, or did you get up to some stuff when Dad wasn't?
Yeah, no, I was sort of kind of mischievous, but never naughty, if you know what I mean. I knew where the line was. And I mean, Dad's at school, so I was trying to help,
All right. So it sounds like it was pretty happy life, and you moved to Melbourne 30 years ago, and you continued to build and evolve, I suppose.
Yeah. I spent a couple of years overseas in between, and came back and started looking for work in Melbourne because I didn't want to sort of live in Canberra again. You sort of, once you've seen the world, you don't really want to go back. But
all right, where'd you live overseas?
I lived in London for a little while. I lived in Paris for a little while, and I lived in Cyprus.
Why wouldn't you?
Yeah, and then I travelled around Europe in the winter. So I did that for a couple of years.
Did that have an impact on you living overseas for a couple of years?
Oh yeah. So I had a house. I sold my house. I had a house when the interest rates were 18%. Didn't make any money on it, but it was kind of like forced savings. So then I just took myself off to Europe for 2 years and spent almost every cent I had, and came back and thought I better start working again. But yeah, it was great. So I was a bit nomadic for a couple of years. It was great. Best time of my life. Yeah. The issues today with the line of advice, I think we've just got to get a little bit more personable about everything. I think we're being driven by compliance too much, and I think we need to start having just a normal conversations. So my conversations with my clients about, well, what do your holidays look like? What do you actually want to do in retirement? Have you made sure your kids are okay if something happens to either of you? Do you know what would happen if one of you was sick? What do you have to do? Like, is your debt covered? So really basic language, but talking about the benefits. I don't talk about product, I don't talk about strategies, I just talk about the benefits of advice and how to make people feel comfortable, in control, and sense of confidence, and I try to educate people along the way. So
okay, so that sounds pretty good.
Yeah,
and you sound very passionate.
Yes.
I guess you truly believe in what it is that you do.
Yes, definitely. Yeah,
okay,
definitely.
Fine.
Yeah.
And you also seem to have a reasonably optimistic outlook on what the future for the advice sector holds.
Yeah, I do. I think what's happening now had to happen, and it should probably happened a while ago. I knew the reason I have my own business is because I knew what the banks, the big institutions are like. I'm not motivated by sales targets. In fact, I'm demotivated by them. They do nothing for me, and I just find that sort of processing very superficial. And so that's why I completely avoided that whole space. So I think what I sort of understood once I got in the industry, I think it's now becoming clear to other people what's been going on. I think it's good to roll the carpets out and get rid of the dirt under it, and we'll have a better industry going forward. And it'll be a professional industry. It won't be an industry, it'll be a profession.
Okay, very good.
And that's what we need.
And in doing so, do you have the right balance in your professional and personal life?
Yes. Although last year I got a little bit busy, I think I probably didn't have as much downtime as I normally do. I like travelling, so I like to have at least 6 to 8 weeks off a year. And I manage that. Last year I didn't have anywhere near that much, but yes, I'm going to go. That's my plan, to rebalance that and actually enjoy myself as well.
Nicole, thank you so much for your time.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.
Thanks.